Hello and welcome to all members from the Ray Group attending the Unlocking the Vault Express webinar. My name is Brian Chesson, New South Wales Digital BDE, and in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll be taking you through the buyer match process and owner feedback processes inside our new platform, VaultRE. So as you guys can see here, if you are not familiar, this is the dashboard inside VaultRE. So what we're going to jump into first is the buyer match process. So much of the same as with my desktop, this will be found in the property card. So what we'll be doing is clicking on properties on the left. So there's a few different, before I jump into that, there's a few different ways that you can actually search this. So you can go to properties on the left, find property. You can also use this top search bar, or ultimately you can just click on the property icon at the top here. Once we're in there, obviously when you're doing a buyer match, they would have been converted from obviously an appraisal through to a listing. So we'll leave the status as for sale and listing. Then as we come down the page here, you'll see obviously unpublished, they haven't been published online yet. And the ones that aren't displaying unpublished have been published online. So let's just click through to this listing here. Okay, so what you'll see at the top here, there is obviously the buyer match section, much like my desktop. So we'll just click on that. Okay, so what you can see on the left is obviously the buyer match for the office, as well as obviously my own data. On the right-hand side is where you can start to filter your price range, your search, your beds, baths, cars, the type of dwelling it is as well. So what we can do here, what we might do is just tighten up the range. So we'll just put in 450. To 550. We'll leave the beds, baths, cars, and as you can see on the left-hand side, it automatically updates the number of recipients for you as you're actually progressing down the page. We'll leave it as a house. So we'll click on e-marketing, click on Designly. Okay, in Designly, you want to click on emails. And then we want to click on buyer match, okay, and use this template. Now, what we want to do is name it buyer match. Then the property. The reason why we're doing that is so when it feeds through to Vault, you can actually pick up that it is that particular buyer match for that property. So to put in the property here, okay. Okay, and then you can see down the bottom here that the buyer match has fed through. So we want to customize this email. It's already populated the listing for us. So if we're wanting to change any text before we're actually sending this out, just double click that. And then you can add in any further text at the end. It is quite generic. So if you are wanting to be quite elaborate with this particular text, by all means, you can do that. Once you are happy with it, you'll click send, save changes. Now, it takes us to the final page. So essentially what we're doing here is we're clicking who do we want to send the email on behalf of. A lot of the time it will either be marketing contact number 1, or in fact, it'll be the lead agent. So just above that, you'll see the amount of contacts it's going to be sent to, the timing. So you can schedule this timing if you like, or by all means, you can leave that as send now. In the subject, what we may put in here is potentially new listing dash the property address. And then underneath that, you will see a preview of the email that the consumer will see on the other end. Okay, if you were happy with this, basically what you'd be doing next is clicking next, and then that will shoot off the email to those 144 contacts. Now, The next thing we're going to run through quickly is the owner feedback report. So inside Vault, the owner feedback report is essentially the vendor report, which you guys would have been used to inside My Desktop. So essentially we're following the same process. You can use search bar, property icon up here, or find a property on the left. Then what we're doing, we're finding a property being 61 Temple. Okay, then you'll see the tab up here in the top right-hand corner being owner feedback. What we want to do is we want to click the drop down, click owner feedback. And what this will do, it'll give us all of the information for that specific property. So all of our online inquiries, all the people we've inserted at Open Homes through the app, anyone that's walked into the office that we've actually inserted the data against the property, any phone calls we've received, private inspections, all of that type of thing. So this is much of the same as My Desktop. You will notice a difference here that active pipe results do feed through as well. So what we're wanting to do here is essentially create an owner report. So bottom right-hand corner, create the owner report. To Tamara Ortiz, she's the owner. Display first name of the contact is cool. Now, as we're working down the page here, you will see some inclusions that we can actually insert into the vendor report. So essentially what we're wanting to do here is click items that do have necessary data in them. So there will be obviously telemarketing notes, there'll be contract requests, any email campaigns, advertising ledger. And then as we come down here, we'll click on this residential vendor report template. What that will do is spit out the vendor report for us in a Word document. So essentially what we can do here is we can just click wherever we like. If we're wanting to remove a piece of data, essentially we can do that in here. So yours will look slightly different to ours. Essentially yours will have a far greater amount of data in there. Given our database doesn't actually feed to any portals, that is a clear indication as to why we don't have any website inquiries and that type of thing. As soon as you are happy with this, you can obviously save a copy to the filing cabinet, and ultimately you can send the email to the owner. So essentially that is the vendor report workflow. So the last thing we can do in here is the client login. So essentially what we can do with the client login is give the owner real-time information on their particular property. So essentially it's a real-time vendor report. If you are wanting to use this function, obviously you can give the vendor access to a live report. If you're not, by all means, you can just disregard this process. But that'll just be found in the owner feedback, client login, and the vendor report will be found in the owner feedback. So just to finish off on this, what I'd like to do is just show you through where you can find some more resources on VaultRE. So essentially we'll go to the G5 website where everything is housed. Then we'll jump into Whiteboard. Okay, you obviously need to sign in with your @RayWhite email address and password. Now, once you are in there, what we're looking for is this Get Prepared for Vault tab. So what we can find in here is basically all the resources that you will require in terms of getting your office ready to migrate across the Vault from My Desktop. So we have segmented this slightly. So we do have a lot of admin fact sheets, on-demand webinars and that type of thing for all of your key admin staff members. So that will take them through admin basics, so setting up categories, all the way through to obviously the financials piece, which is closing off a property file and settling it, walking through trust reconciliations and that type of thing. On the sales agent piece, what you will find in there again is some on-demand webinars, some fact sheets on basically how they can insert properties into the database, how do they manage the vendor report process, how do they do some email marketing and that type of thing. On the left-hand side, you'll see the for leasing. So essentially what this will take them through, because not many businesses will have the VaultRE PM piece turned on. Essentially what it will take them through is adding a property into the Vault system, and then taking that through to leased phase. On the right-hand side, you'll see the Vault mobile app. So this will give you all of the frequently asked questions, fact sheets on basically how to utilize the Vault app in your day-to-day. So that's where you find all of your information for getting prepared for VaultRE. So that completes our Unlocking the Vault Express webinar about biomatches and owner feedback reports. Thank you for joining us today. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to your local digital BDE. Once again, my name is Brian, and thank you for joining.